Are you willing to come with me? He took some time to ask, while also tightly guarding her behind him. Don't look at him, he's not good. Looking, he whispered in her ear. I didn't look at him. Chen Wan felt that her ears must have turned red. Muzhou felt extremely happy when she saw her ears turning red, but on the surface, she said seriously, do I look good? Hello, hello. Is that all? Muzhou. What do you mean? Li Ao exclaimed angrily. Li Gongzi still doesn't understand. Of course it was a marriage snatch. He smiled happily from the bottom of his heart. You. I am not just a marquis, but also a national uncle. Li Gongzi dares to call me by my name in front of me without considering himself first. It's really impolite. Hey, stop talking. We're currently engaged in marriage snatching and runaway. Madam can say whatever she says. Don't shout around like that. That sister is seated properly. Chapter 1. Love at First Sight. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Li Dynasty, the 10th year of Yongle. The capital is rich and charming. Why don't you stay a few more days? Hey, stop it. Wan supported her chin with both hands and occasionally looked downstairs with her eyes. Xianyi can't bear to watch anymore. Miss, if you really want to watch, just go down and watch enough, so you think others don't know. Xianyi helped her forehead. Xuanyi, didn't I say that? This handsome guy not only looks good, but also prolongs life, contributes to physical and mental health, and lives 100 years. Wan withdrew her gaze and held a piece of osmanthus cake in her slender hand. Xuanyi, why don't you go back first? I'll take a look. If you don't want to go back, you can go out and take a walk yourself. Don't keep following me. Xianyi glanced downstairs and obediently went back. She knew her young lady's temper, but it wasn't a big deal anyway. Li Dynasty is open to the public, and there are countless people of all kinds on the streets. Wan was aimlessly playing when suddenly he felt a chill behind him. It was a bit eerie during the broad daylight. Walking towards a quiet alley with a hint of playfulness in mind. Bang! Wan picked up the wooden stick next to him and it was a stick. Pain, pain, pain. Master. Wan, holding a wooden stick, quickly put it down and walked over to help her master. Oh my dear disciple, you're going to kill me. No, absolutely not. Ouch, ouch. How did you come? Your father writes to me every 3 days and 2, asking you to go back quickly. I'm going back right now. Okay, go back now. Okay. Before she even arrived home, Wan's greedy nature was exposed, and she forced her reluctant high eyebrows into a restaurant. Master, I have developed a new poison. Would you like to take a look now? She began to take out her pocket. Raise your eyebrows and support your forehead, just eat and talk about some poison. The last time it was not resolved yet. He silently recited in his heart, hoping that the poison this time would be simpler. The sound of footsteps slowly approached, and the shop assistant knocked on the door. In. Wan stopped his hand movements. It's okay, I'll give it to him later. It's only important to eat now. The waiter brought the dishes one by one. The two were eating when they suddenly heard a fight in the next room. They looked at each other and then buried their heads in eating. Mind your own business, so as not to cause trouble. If the two of them think so, hurry up and finish eating and leave. Although Wan, who is extremely curious, really wants to go and see the excitement, this is still the capital city with many people and disasters. Wan shook her head and buried herself in hard work. Bang! A man was kicked into their private dining room. Wan is currently delivering vegetables to her mouth, blinking. What is the situation? My head short-circuited for a while, then returned to normal. I put the vegetables in my mouth, took a bite of the rice, and put down the dishes. Gao Mei did the same, took a bite, and put down the dishes. The two of them stood up at the same time and looked out the door. I hit you, young master. Lu Huai held a sword in one hand and wiped the blood from his face with the other, then smiled and stepped on the person. Little Marquis, spare your life. I won't dare again next time, the person who was trampled on the ground pleaded bitterly. Is there another time? No, no more. Please go down. Lu Huai kicked again before instructing the servants to take it off. If it weren't for them blocking the way, Ning Fuwan and the others would have walked long ago. She blinked and said, "Who is this person?" She gave her a high eyebrow pull, and then she realized it. The two of them silently thought to themselves, just treat us like air. I'm really sorry, girl. Lu Huai is not blind, so he quickly apologized. It's okay, Ning Fuwan shook her head. Lu Huai took the handkerchief handed over by the guard and wiped his face. Azu, why don't you come in? Your old friend is here. Ning Fuwan looked up and saw a young man holding a sword, dressed in purple clothes, coming to the door and leaning against the doorframe. The afterglow of the setting sun fell on him, his face towering high. What a beautiful picture of a man. It's simply top-notch. Old man Gao, long time no see. This person was Tang Zhengzhou, the younger brother of the emperor. TSK, who is this young master? I have been wandering the martial arts world for many years, and my memory is really poor. Gao Mei raised his eyebrows. The memory of Gao Xianren has been declining year by year. Tang Zhengzhou stood straight and glanced at Ning Fuwan, thinking to himself, around 15, why haven't you seen this person? Gao Mei, is this accepting disciples? Master, I think this person is not good. Let's hurry up and leave, Ning Fuwan whispered. With a high eyebrow and a slight smile, he whispered, it's really not good. Tang Zhengzhou looked at her, is he not good? What's wrong with him? Gao Mei knew he could hear, but he didn't tell Ning Fuwan. It's okay, disciple is important. That kid will talk later. Excuse me. You guys keep going. Ning Fuwan smiled slightly and walked away from him. As soon as he stepped out of the room, he ran away in a flash. Tang Zhengzhou looked at her departing figure. What, kid? Uncle Huang, your disciple. Is it difficult for you, disciple? Okay, if Uncle Huang is willing. Rolling. Aren't you not accepting apprentices? What does it have to do with you whether I accept or not? Not really. However, it looks good. Humph. My disciple is not good. Looking. What are you doing? Go back and study and practice swordsmanship, don't come to me. If you talk to me, I will tell my disciple when I have time. After all, this is the first time our young prince has praised a girl. He laughed mischievously. Uncle Huang, I advise you to be kind. She didn't know if Gao Mei had come out, but she only realized it on the street. But forget it, the master is so skilled, don't worry. I have no conscience. Chapter 2. Goodbye or like. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the 11th year of Yongla. Miss, I'm so excited. Xianyi looked left and right all the way, excitedly looking outside. Ning Fuwan lay in the carriage, closing her eyes and recuperating. How come you're so excited after only a year without coming back? Look at your achievements. She yawned and opened her eyes, and Xianyi quickly poured her a glass of water. Ning Fuwan took a sip, elegantly put it down, picked up the book that was placed on the table, and opened half of it. Of course. Do you want to go down for a walk? Xian Yi's eyes lit up. Let's go. Ning Fuwan stood up. The coachman stopped the car, and Xian Yi happily got off first, then helped Ning Fuwan down. Take the things in the car to Ning Mansion, Ning Fuwan explained and gave the coachman a jade pendant. Miss, will it be too late to go back? Xianyi finally remembered that they came back this time to celebrate the birthdays of her young lady and master. I don't know. Ning Fuwan really wants to explore Shangjing, which she hasn't seen in a year. It's not urgent to go home. Sigh. With a sound of stallion, Xianyi turned her head, but Ning Fuwan didn't pay much attention. She tugged at Xianyi, and the two of them made way to the side. Tuer, wait a moment. Gao Mei quickly dismounted and bypassed Tang Zhengzhou, who was riding on a tall horse. Ning Fuwan thought she had heard wrong, but it was Xuanyi who pulled her a little before she turned around. What's wrong? Don't you want to go back? Think it through. Ning Fuwan asked in shock. No, come on, let me introduce someone to you. Gao Mei quickly grabbed her arm. What are you doing? The sunshine was just right, hitting his side face, adding a touch of warmth to him riding on a tall horse. What a handsome young master. It can be called the best. However, it feels a bit familiar. Tang Zhengzhou jumped off his horse and walked up to her. She is taller than a year ago and has grown up. Her fair face is devoid of any makeup, and her clear big eyes sparkle. Her graceful figure is complemented by a light blue shirt. Ning Fuwan looked at Gao Mei, didn't she want to introduce her? This is my disciple, Ning Fuwan, the only daughter of Dr. Ning, Gao Mei introduced with a smile. I know, Tang Zhengzhou stared at her intently. Of course I know you know, do you know too little? If it weren't for your happiness, I wouldn't have introduced my obedient disciple to you. Wan Wan, this is the younger brother of the current emperor, Tang Zhengzhou. Ning Fuwan looked bewildered, what? She doesn't know him, why introduce him? But I only introduced him when I didn't know him, but what did he just say? He knows himself. Ning Fuwan looked at the Xuanyi person in front of her, who was 8 feet tall. Finally, she remembered that a year ago, he leaned against the door frame in a restaurant and looked at herself as he did today. But now he has become more mature, losing some of his youthful temperament, but still full of energy, just a little less smiling. Don't ask her why she remembers it, because she is handsome. Of course, she will remember it to some extent, not to mention him as a top-notch person. Master, should I kneel? She asked sincerely. Thankfully I haven't had any holiday with him before. Why kneel? But today, go to the royal mansion with him first. It's true, if it weren't for him, this kid would definitely be single. Why? I'm going home, not back to his house. She protested, what kind of person is this? They're not relatives or acquaintances, and they're not familiar with each other. What are you doing at his house? Did the master sell her? Impossible. What's the rush? I'll go tell your dad to rest assured. Don't worry, he's not that kind of lascivious person. Tang Zhengzhou os. Lust is not lustful, I don't know, but I love her. Master, did you sell me? There's nothing left. What's the custom for me, a woman who hasn't left the court, to go to a prince's house? You're not like this outside. Anyway, the waves outside haven't been like this for a day or two. The scolding is quite reasonable. Can it compare to the capital outside? What are you afraid of? You don't say it, I don't say it, he doesn't say it, Xianyi doesn't say it, who knows? Otherwise, just marry him. You're just getting married, not going. I don't necessarily marry him. Long-winded. Tang Zhengzhou didn't expect the duck with its beak to fly away, thinking about it for so long. Now standing in front of him, he had no self-control. Waiting for Gao Mei to persuade her, she doesn't know how time flies. Then he picked her up with one hand and flipped her over to the edge of the horse, lifted her up with one hand, and then he himself got on the horse. Does she want face? Quickly lower your head and cover your face. He chuckled lightly, not necessarily how shy she was when looking at men. Chapter 3. Which fool will not like money? You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 4. Dungeon Negotiations. You are listening at novel full.audio. Ning Fuwan was still tempted. After all, a college she sponsored far away would still cost a lot of money. Although she had money, it was different. Okay. She agreed. Anyway, he's the prince. Is it useful for her to refuse? Maybe they turn around and give themselves a knife. Tang Zhengzhou gave a gentle smile. The two quickly arrived at the dungeon. Ning Fuwan was speechless. The good man took the girl home for the first time and went to the dungeon. However, they have nothing to do with it. But what big deal do we have to go to the dungeon to talk about? I couldn't help but feel a chill behind my back. Is it difficult for him to imprison himself? No, he can't be abnormal, can he? Tang Zhengzhou. It's just abnormal for you. Ning Fuwan. Get away from me. Prince, why did you come to the dungeon in person? She was puzzled, and a faint stench came along. Although the prison seemed to be trying to cover up the stench, there were still some. After all, the ventilation was not good here. She gently covered her nose. Tang Zhengzhou took a sneak glance and decided to bring the person up next time. She's so delicate. He chuckled lightly. Miss Ning doesn't even ask me what help I need. Can the servant ask the prince if she can speak? That's true. Quickly, the two of them arrived at a prison cell where a woman dressed in red lay. She stopped in front of her cell listening to the noise of her feet and immediately opened her eyes, turning her head to see the two of them. The girl was wearing a blue light gauze skirt, with lotus flowers hidden in the hem. She wore a head of blue silk and simple hair accessories, which made her look more clear and bright. The man next to her was taller than her, dressed in black. She let out a deflated sigh. Back then, she and he were as bright as they were. Prince, where's the little marquis? She struggled to get up. Dead, he said succinctly. Impossible, she said fiercely as she climbed up to the prison door like a madman. Ning Fuwan stood a little behind Tang Zhengzhou, carefully observing the person in front of her. What's the origin of this person? Ning Fuwan was a curious person and blurted it out before realizing it. What is he doing? Isn't this adding insult to injury? Chen Wan, the legitimate daughter of the Chen family in Beiliang. Ning Fuwan was stunned for a moment. What a coincidence. That young marquis' surname is Mu and his name is Muzhou. Ning Fuwan. Confidential. He is also too dark inside. Isn't it that she can't even agree or not? Sure enough, men are bad. Remember. Tang Zhengzhou looked at Ning Fuwan. Remember what? Ning Fuwan really doesn't like people like them, speaking in a roundabout manner, which is really uncomfortable. Her face. Ning Fuwan just glanced at it again. What's so memorable about it? Can't he remember it himself? But she didn't say it in the end. Tang Zhengzhou, as you said, as long as we surrender, you will let him go. You should know my king's methods. I curse you. The human heart is unpredictable, especially for someone like me. Let's see Miss Chen off the road. After speaking, he pulled Ning Fuwan out of the dungeon, who was stunned on the side. Before leaving the dungeon, there was a sound of, "You're just a lunatic," coming from behind, but it quickly quieted down, as if a knife was sliding through the air. After leaving the dungeon, Ning Fuwan finally realized. Tang Zhengzhou just saw her with a shocked expression on his face and thought to himself. Will she be afraid of herself? I want you to go to Beiliang with me, Tang Zhengzhou answered her previous question. Actually, he has selfish intentions. Going to Beiliang. What should I do as a weak woman? Not only can I not help the prince, but I may also drag him down. She said seriously, although he gave me a lot, she was not afraid to go to that kind of place, but going with him would be death and life. Yes, I believe Miss Ning. After all, Miss Ning is a close disciple of a great doctor. This person, how did he know? But it seems that it's not difficult for him to just want to know. Does the prince know his master? Of course. Sure enough. Has the prince not investigated thoroughly? My daughter is not someone who studies medicine. Naturally clear, Miss Ning's poison is both difficult to cure and novel. Sure enough. Prince, I don't know how I offended the prince. Why did the prince drag my daughter onto this ship? Good disciple. Gao Mei ran over panting heavily. Ning Fuwan frowned. Their relationship seemed to be quite good, but the master had never mentioned it before. Prince, I thought you were just taking Wan Wan to take a look at the portrait, you. It's okay, master. Prince, you don't have to do this, do you? What if you scare her? I'll just promise you not to. What's so cold? Leaving the royal mansion. On the carriage, Xian Yi held Ning Fuwan and inspected her before letting her go. Master. Wan Wan, I'm afraid I've told you everything about the prince. The prince didn't mean to do it. Ning Fuwan closed her eyes to rest her mind. People from Baoyang, master, tell the prince that I promise him, but he also needs to help me. Wan Wan. Master, I know why he took me there. There is no distinction between good and bad people here. It's okay if my dad doesn't know. I know he did it on purpose, and I'm not stupid either. Wan Wan. Master has his own difficulties. That stinky kid is really cheap. If he finds out that he is not good to his obedient disciple, he will definitely beat him up and ask Lao Ning to find a good husband for his obedient disciple to marry. Chapter 5. Warm Family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The academy is still waiting for her, she can't give up. If you agree, just agree. It happened that he used his power to kill Mr. Li from Baoyang together. Murder pays off, debt pays off. Normal and normal, she admits that she is not a good person. Tang Zhengzhou. I'm not a good person either, that's great, it's made in heaven and earth. Ning Fuwan was actually quite tempted at first, but later she was a bit worried. When she heard about it, only in this way could she get close to that Li Go thing. She also thought that she knew so much about him, and he wouldn't let her go. Also, she was a bit impolite when talking to him later, and I don't know if he would mind. Tang Zhengzhou. How to compare accounting later, someone said, she pulled the god down from the altar. Did he fall off the altar like this? He said, Wan Wan is my god, a goddess from heaven. It's not that I fell off the altar, but that my light made me sit on the altar. I don't want her to come down, so I want to walk towards her. Tang Zhengzhou. My fairy has come to pick me up and take me home. Do you envy me? I know you envy me. After thinking for a while, Ning Fuwan gave up telling her father when she returned home. Sister, a milky sound sounded. Seer. Ning Fuwan regained consciousness upon hearing the voice and crouched down Ning Si's hand. Sister, Si misses you so much. Got it, Xuani, go and pick up the gift I gave to Si'er. Then pick up Ning Si. Sister, I just came back. Mother, she said, when you're back, I'll run over. Does Xiaozier love her sister so much? Don't love my brother. Love all love. Ning Fuwan smiled happily, and every time he came back, he was as happy as marrying a wife. When she first returned, she talked to her mother for a while, but because her father and brother had not come back, and she was not hungry, she had not eaten yet. Xuani quickly received the gift, and Ning Fuwan handed Ning Si to Xuani. Si'er, let Sister Xuani carry you to the front hall. Sister can change her clothes and go over. She touched his head. Xuani first carried the young master to the front hall. Inside, Ning Fuwan casually changed her clothes, glanced at herself in the mirror, closed her eyes, and only opened them after a while. After hastily finishing my makeup, I went to the front hall. "Dad and brother, you're back." She walked over with a smile. "Wan Wan, do you miss second brother?" Xiao said as she wanted to put her shoulder on it. A carefree demeanor. Ning Lu clapped his hand away. "What's the proper way to look carefree? Oh. Alright, hurry up and sit down to eat. Mr. Ning really has a headache, and every time there is Xiao, he jumps around like a chicken. Hurry up and sit down." Mrs. Ning said with a smile. "Be careful of your mother hitting you," Ning Fuwan said with a smile beside him. "Xiao too is big, he's just a big shot." "I just ate for a while, I want to sit with my sister," Ning Xiai said with a soft and gentle voice. "No way," Xiao said, taking a sip of rice before swallowing it. "Second brother, you're not a child anymore." Ning Fuwan asked Ning Xiai to sit next to him. Xiao looked at his elder brother. "Shut up, eat. After finishing, go back and reread all your books from scratch. Tomorrow's spot check." "Ah." Ning Fuwan chuckled. "Don't laugh. Big brother second brother don't make any noise, it's disturbing my sister, forget it, he's more magnanimous than Xiao, but this is his own sister. He always competes with himself for her love, forget it, he's young, don't argue with him." After finishing the meal, Ning Lu grabbed Ning Xiao's ear and went to read a book. "This stinky kid. Dad, don't be angry. Although second brother is a bit careless, he hasn't fallen behind in his studies," Ning Fuwan said. "Master, Xiao is just young, don't keep an eye on him," Mrs. Ning said. "It's just that Daddy is fierce, Mr. Ning, these two sons are really lucky to have an older brother." Okay, Wan Wan is also tired. Stop nagging and let Wan Wan go rest first." "Oh, Wan Wan, go rest now. I need to go and take a look. Shower, this stinky kid, as long as your big brother is not here, I'm designated to be lazy again." Ning Fuwan smiled and was about to leave when Ning Xiai grabbed her by the corner of her clothes. "Xiai wants to be with her sister." Okay, parents, go take a look at second brother and then go back to rest." "I'll take it with me, Xiai." "Okay," Mr. Ning nodded. Mrs. Ning supported Mr. Ning and the two of them walked towards the courtyard of Ningxiao while talking. Chapter 6. Do you like my sister? You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 7. Plain and light. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 8. Decisions. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 9. Lu Yi's self-maturity. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 10. Quietly sending big gifts. You are listening at novel full.audio. Mr. Ning and Mrs. Ning have been sitting among the guests for a while without seeing Ning Fuwan. Mrs. Ning quietly asked people to quickly find someone. Before anyone could leave, Ning Fuwan and Lu Yi came in, followed by Ning Lu holding Ning Xiai. Ning Fuwan smiled slightly and gently supported the gift. "I've made everyone wait for a long time." "Nothing, sit down quickly," Dr. Ning said with a smile, "as long as she came." At this moment, Ning Xiao also jumped out and saw that Lu Yi was actually going to have sex with her own sister. She rushed over quickly, but neither Lu Yi nor Ning Fuwan sat here. Instead, Ning Xiai honestly ran over to sit with him. Lu Yi sat next to her with satisfaction. The banquet was outside, so there were many seats and many people were invited. After all, this is also Ning Fuwan's birthday. Mrs. Ning and Mr. Ning want to start a separate business, but she finds it troublesome and they have nothing to say. After all, they have only one daughter, so they spoil it. After congratulating Mr. Ning, everyone began Ning Fuwan's hairpin ceremony. Madame Ning personally put on a hairpin for her. After one round, she was a bit tired. Mrs. Ning took a group of ladies to the backyard, and Ning Fuwan was also a protagonist today, so she had to keep up. Lu Yi took her arm. Banquet area. Miss Ning is really rare to see, Xiao Yi said with a smile, toasting Mr. Ning. It's hard to see love idol at home. My daughter doesn't often stay at home, isn't it well? Known to wealthy families in the capital. Miss Ning is indeed exceptionally beautiful. Xiao Gongzi flattered me. Mr. Ning was happy today, as his daughter was already beautiful. Master, the king of the south of the city is here, a young servant whispered in Mr. Ning's ear. He furrowed his brow and asked, what is the king of the south of the city doing? He didn't invite him, did he? Besides, who dares to invite him? He was really scared when he came last year, why did he come again this year? The person who finished speaking has already arrived. I remember today is Dr. Ning's birthday and Miss Ning's birthday, so I came uninvited. Later, Xingrong summoned someone to bring in the congratulatory gift. In a moment, someone was displaying a painting in front of him. There wasn't anything good in the mansion, so someone found this painting to give to Dr. Ning. He said and looked around again. He had just looked around and saw a group of old masters and young masters. Dr. Ning stood still, this person, together, had already inquired about his own good fortune. The prince doesn't need to spend a lot of effort. Perhaps he was blinded by the good things, so he smiled and accepted the gift, inviting him to sit up. Tang Zhengzhou said lightly that today is his birthday, so there is no need for it. Tang Zhengzhou. This is my father. In law. After being polite to him, Mr. Ning stopped talking. But is he really just here to give gifts? What are you looking around for? Sending him something is probably just a lie, isn't it? But he didn't make any mistakes either. The meaning of a drunken man is not in wine. He sat for a while, but couldn't directly ask where Ning Fuwan was, so he stood up and said he went out to take a look. There are also quite a few young masters going out now. Lord Lu, why didn't you say a word today? Gu Minghui patted Lu Huai's shoulder and said with a smile. Hey, what's so happy about it? My ear insisted on pulling me over, and I couldn't do anything about it. Oh, then why are you a little late? I didn't come here just to visit the Wang mansion. That's it. Where's Yudu? He's not with you. No, I specifically went to find my sister. Today, my parents are at Ning's house. In the backyard, adults talk about adults, and girls gather together to chat. Sister Ji, this is what I told you about Wan Wan. Lu Yi took Ning Fuwan's arm and happily introduced her to Shenji. Miss Lu, we were all here just now, of course we know this is Miss Ning. Everyone glanced at me, then covered their lips and smiled. Xuanyi was originally wandering around in the mansion, but ended up meeting Xingrong. She was shocked, how could he be here? After a while, Tang Zhengzhou walked over. I've seen the prince before. She quickly bowed. Where is your young lady now? The backyard, she quickly replied, after all, she knew about his relationship with his own young lady. After speaking, he turned around and left. Thank you, Xingrong said before leaving. It's okay, she awkwardly said, then quickly caught up. Miss Ning is a gentle little white rabbit, who doesn't love her when she sees her. Shang Guanqi chuckled.